And a lot of people that are coming from out of state, places like North Carolina. I just spoke to a gentleman that's coming from the base at Jacksonville. He's moving up here. We need to factor in the New York state and federal income tax brackets that you're now entering here in New York. On this channel, I typically feed you pro-Long Island propaganda, reasons you need to move here, why people love living here, straight from the horse's mouth. And in today's video, we're going to be doing the exact opposite. I'm going to be giving you the top 5 reasons that people cringe, people hate living here. The reasons I get texts like these in the middle of the night from people saying they need to get out of here, they've had enough of it. So if you're planning on making a move to Long Island, but you want to know exactly what the con side is of living here, this is the video for you. And make sure that you stick around to the last reason, because all 5 of these reasons are going to get progressively worse as we go along, and leading you to the main reason that people end up inevitably just leaving here and decide that it's too much. So without further ado, let's get into reason number 5 why people hate living here on Long Island. And reason number 5 is going to be traffic. And although it sounds like a small reason, like you can maybe put up with some traffic here, there. So depending on whether you're living in Suffolk County or Nassau County, if you have to make a commute for your job to Manhattan or Brooklyn or any of the boroughs, you're talking about a commute that could be 30 to even 90 minutes every single morning and evening on the way home from work. And so basically the traffic here, and I'll explain why. So first we'll talk about east and west. If you're going from Manhattan to Long Island, you have 3 major parkways that are going to lead you in there. One is, and they go east and west, the Northern State, the Long Island Expressway, and the Southern State, being on the South Shore, middle of the island, North Shore. And the Long Island Expressway and the Northern State actually do cross over each other from time to time, which I will show you. I have the map here right up to share you. These 3 parkways, in a long story short, if you look up the history of Long Island, how it was built, how inevitably people started coming out here, it was not meant to have this many people living on it. So it was a much smaller population back in the day when they first originated this island. But since then, of course, population's crazy. There's a ton of people here, so it really adds to the traffic. Now, if we pinch in to the middle of the island here, you've got your Long Island Expressway. This is running east and west. The one thing about the LIE, the Long Island Expressway, or the 495, is that it allows for commercial traffic. The Northern State and the Southern State do not, but the Long Island Expressway does. This means tractor trailers, boat hauling trucks, tow truck, massive amounts of large vehicle transportation, so it adds a ton of fumes to it. This parkway does have a lot more lanes on it, and an HOV lane where you can actually, if you have 2 or more people, can speed right through, but even that tends to get a ton of traffic added to it. That's your first one, the LIE, but that's what's controlling traffic on the North and South Shore here on Long Island. And if you're someone that has a large commute every day, you're talking about a lot of gas being added to your bills, because you gotta fill the tank up every so often if you're gonna be sitting in traffic like that every day, 5 days a week. The other side is, if you want to make the trip a little bit easier, take the Long Island Expressway into Manhattan, that's also gonna add up, because you're gonna take on peak time tickets, which are gonna be about $25 to $30 per day, 5 days a week. Only whatever the math is, 5 times 25, go ahead, put that down, and multiply it by 4. And you're really going to see a hefty bill at the end of the month. The good news on that is a lot of jobs that work out in Manhattan that kind of have deals with you will go ahead and give you an MTA pass, so you can get a little bit of a lower fee on those tickets, help save money, but that's the option. Either way, it's a lot of travel time to get to Manhattan. And even if you're not in Manhattan, you're still going to be sitting in that traffic if you're commuting throughout the island, whether you're going north to South Shore or wherever you're going to be bouncing around to. So make sure to factor in the traffic, because this may involve you leaving another hour or hour and a half earlier than you originally needed to, meaning you have to wake up earlier, If it's just even weekend plans, you're also seeing the traffic. Now, some of the times that people are going to want to know about traffic here on Long Island, westbound traffic towards Manhattan is really going to spike at these times. It's going to be between 7 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. on every single weekday because everyone's headed west towards the city, towards the boroughs, and on the way back going to the eastbound traffic now. This is going to take place anywhere from 3:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Gridlock, okay? The times around that, you kind of scatter in, you get that, could fly by pretty quickly, but anywhere in that belt of time could be massively gridlock traffic on either side. So keep that in mind. Weekends, again, towards the afternoon, towards the evening, you got a lot of people transferring into the city. They're going to be looking to have some fun out there, and that adds to the traffic. So you're talking about added time on top of your get ready time, preparation time. Traffic is huge. Just a reminder, we are the #1 relocation team here on Long Island, and we are ready to help you. So if you're planning to make a move here in the next 3 days, 3 months, be sure to reach out to us. All of our contact information is in the description below, and we look forward to hearing from you and what your story is and getting you where you need to be out here on Long Island. Number 2, the space, okay? What you get here for your dollar in Long Island doesn't necessarily take you very far. Okay, and this is going to lead us to a couple of the other reasons that I have, which are the cost of living, which are divided into 2 specific segments because there are very many hidden costs of living here. We're going to talk about all that. But the space that you actually get. When you're buying a house in Nassau County, you're talking about a 4,000 to 5,000 square foot lot. Okay, so it's very limited on what you can build. The interior of these homes is usually on the maximum side, on average, of about 2,400 square feet. And so if you're coming from a place like North Carolina, South Carolina, I just spoke to someone the other day that's at a military base in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and they need to relocate up for work. And I said, okay, well, if you're dealing with that now and you have a 2,500 square foot house, the price point that you're about to jump into, along with the square footage you're going to get, is going to be severely less than maybe what you had hoped or were anticipating on. You have to factor in exactly what space that you're getting. If you go out to Suffolk County, you can get a little bit more for your money. It all depends on where you want to be, but it's a little bit further east from the city. So if you were to go out to Suffolk County and want, say, a 3,000 square foot home, you can have with a decent budget of around $500,000-$600,000, you can get that, but you're going to need to update that home yourself. See, it's a lot of pick and choose here of what you actually want. But the rough main common denominator is that the square footage is tough to budge here on price point. Even some of the new construction homes here that you're seeing are going to be coming out at like 2,700 square feet. They don't even break the 3,000. So people go in their heads, well, if I'm going to spend over $1 million and I don't even get 3,000 square foot of interior space, why would I do that? I could just go do that somewhere else. My job allows me to transfer. I don't need to stay here. So the space factor is really huge with people with expanding families, or they're going to need extra space for how they want to have a lifestyle. They leave because of that. Reason number 3, the weather, okay? We have seasons here. We have winter, we have summer, we have spring, we have fall. Now, they all come with different pain in the neck things that we have to get done. So in the wintertime, you're talking about things that can be in the below 0 temperatures with a wind chill. If we have snow on the ground, if it's icy, you are remote starting your car. You have to shovel your driveways. You have to shovel your walkways here. People think that you can get away with it, or, oh, we'll just walk on top of it. No, it turns to black ice, which you cannot see. Myself, my family members, my friends, we all slip on ice. If you want to know what this looks like, just YouTube a video of people slipping on black ice, and it's literally exactly how it is here. You have to shovel, you have to put salt down, otherwise it's a huge problem. So a lot of elderly people will take huge falls on this ice, and it's not good. That ice in the wintertime, the fact that you have to get active with that shovel, get out there working, clearing your driveway, other than the fact that you are responsible for clearing your own walkway in front of your house. You have to do that or you can be fined by the state. You must go ahead and do that. So that's another big reason where it's like, wow, we actually have to go out there and shovel. The other seasons, when the fall comes around, the leaves do come off the trees in large quantities. So you have to go ahead and rake. We have to go clean the lawn. We have to make sure the walkway is clear. So again, that walkway procedure, you have to clean it up. So it's a lot of extra shoveling. It's a lot of extra raking, work in the yard. You have to maintain on top of what you're going to be maintaining in your backyard. When that fall comes, when that winter comes, how are you going to move things around? How are you going to have your daily life? If things are covered in snow, covered in leaves, you got to do the work around here too. So those seasons have a huge, massive impact on what the workload is for you as a homeowner here on Long Island. And now, not only that, but that's just your side of things on the equation as a homeowner. But when you're out actually driving on the roads, they do become hazardous, they do become dangerous. There are many accidents and times where there's black ice even on the roads. There's ice and snow that has not been shoveled, or it's been plowed incorrectly, and it's on the roads. And so there's car accidents or cars getting stuck. And when this happens, we actually have had massive car pileups on the highway where one car can't stop, hits another, the rest of them can't stop, and it's just a pileup and a mess, and everybody's trapped. It's really a tough thing, but it's very real out here. So you have to act in accordance with the weather and only go out in emergencies. If that's something that you don't want to have to worry about at this point in your life, you're just done with the extra drama, then that's something you're not going to like about here on Long Island, because That happens every year in winter, and every season when we go into the fall as well with the leaves. Very slippery on tires, very annoying to shovel, to rake rather, and have to get out of the way. Now, these last two reasons are the biggest two reasons why people get up and leave Long Island. We've made it this far. If you stuck with us so far in this video, be sure to leave a like so I know you like this content. But it's really the same reason we're going to break it into two fields. It is the cost of living, guys. And the cost of living is going to be, one, your home ownership, and two, just living here, your lifestyle, what it costs to actually go and have a life here, the things that you're going to want to do, the food you're going to want to eat. So we'll break it into two, starting with the home ownership aspect. That's a big one, because a lot of people that live here, they go to me that are looking to get out. They say, look, I'm paying almost $1,000 a month in taxes, if not more. And plus, if I want to go ahead and get into another home, I'm ready to maybe retire, leave, my income, my pension's not getting any higher. To actually successfully downsize here in Long Island, you have to go from a residential house to a condo or a cooperative. It is extremely difficult to go from a residential home to a residential home, call it a downsize here, while staying in a similar price point and lifestyle range just to cut the costs down. If you go ahead and paying, almost $1,000 or even more than $1,000 a month in taxes, keep in mind, because you're in New York State, your homeowner's insurance is also on the higher end. You're paying between $250 and $300 per month for that, just because of your plan. Now, the cost of living to maintain your mortgage, your principal, sometimes it just wears on people. If you're not seeing a massive jump in income and you're not seeing, maybe a huge bonus every year to simply keep up with the cost of maintaining the same residential house, it almost doesn't make sense, because every single year, the costs aren't changing for the good. They're going up higher. The appreciation on the house, therefore the taxes on the house, therefore the assessments on the house, and my God, if you live in a place that's in a flood zone and you need to afford flood insurance, that goes up as well. So it's the cost of maintaining that property that people don't necessarily factor in the beginning that is going to be a huge game changer if you don't see it coming. So keep that in mind. And when you're running through, let's say you're relocating from another state, run through with your tax guy, which we'll talk about in a second, and also your lender, because they're going to factor in these costs for you. We provide actually some of the best lenders here in New York. We'll partner with them so they can give you the best information on this kind of stuff. But if you find that these surprise costs are expensive and how they're going to rise year over year if you don't do the things you need to do, grieving taxes, filing for assessments, fighting the flood insurance, that it's going to be a crazy, ridiculous, expensive experience here. And that's one of the reasons people leave, big time. The second cost that you're going to incur here of living is, guys, people want to have a life. They don't want to just live here, work to live. They want to work to enjoy it. So the cost of actually being here, enjoying the money, I say for your lifestyle, set aside about 20% of your monthly income to live and enjoy life. Because if you go to the store right now and you want to pick up a steak, it's going to be $12 to $15 per pound of meat. If you go out to the bar, it's going to cost you $20 per drink. If you go out to the restaurant and you want to buy a nice meal, it's going to cost you roughly $80, $90 a plate. Things to keep in mind. One other thing that people don't factor too very often is the taxes. And a lot of people that are coming from out of state, places like North Carolina, I just spoke to a gentleman that's coming from the base at Jacksonville. He's moving up here. We need to factor in the New York State and federal income tax brackets that you're now entering here in New York, because you're going to have New York State income tax, which is going to range anywhere between 4% and just under 11% state income tax. Okay, these are big figures, guys. And then on top of that, your federal income tax, which is going to be anywhere from, could be 6%, could be 27% if you own your own business and you're taking that here to New York. We want to make sure we know exactly what's going on. Talk to a proper CPA, and I align people up with CPAs up here all the time. We have some of the best in the state work with you guys, especially if you're relocating your own specific business here, LLCs, that type of thing. You want to make sure you do things right and lawfully. So being prepared for the numbers you're going to have to pay the government and the state is super important. That's one of the reasons people actually leave, because they say, wait a second, I could be making so much more money net over net somewhere else at the same lifestyle. So why would I give up so much of my hard-earned cash? I get it, okay? And I'm here to help you make the move if you need it. So that's the taxes. Now, I don't cover too much on taxes because it's going to be completely different how you file them. If you're doing head of household, how you're going to file with joint, it depends what you're doing with yourself, your partner, your family. So definitely speak to a proper CPA before you go ahead and take my full advice on that. But know that it's a real thing here in New York, and especially in Long Island. On other notes, insurance plans, your car insurance, your boat insurance, your motorcycle insurance, it's going to be higher because you live in a more congested area such as Long Island. So people get these bills at the end of the month and they're looking at their their taxes, their insurance, what they're paying for their food bill, and they just go, oh, this is too much. I didn't subscribe to this. I want to have the same lifestyle and enjoy it, but not be losing so much, not have it be a crunch time at the end of every month to get the bills paid. And guys, that is the single biggest reason that people just flat out leave this place and are done with it. It's because of how much money it actually costs to live here, what goes into your transportation, what goes into your monthly bills. All these added expenses just become too much. Thanks for watching. If you're liking this video so far, be sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Every single week we're giving you updated information on moving, relocating, and living here on Long Island, so you have the best and #1 source providing for you so you could stay in the loop.